Vinyl community, I'm here to do a recent vinyl finds video, and I'm gonna try to do this fairly quickly because I'm going to the movies. But I have some records that I want to store and that I'd like to show you before. Now, we're in the sort of a man cave area where I store the rest of my records. So if you don't recognize the background, it's because I'm down in the basement. Moving on to records, I'm gonna start with the reissues, sort of, if this counts as a reissue because it was never issued before. This is Bo Anders Persson's Love Is Here to Stay. Recordings or samples from 65 to 67. Bo Anders Persson is most famous for being in Trägräs och Stenar, the Swedish sort of instrumental prog movement in late 60s, early 70s. The father of the entire Swedish movement, in my opinion. This is a 2 LP set from Subliminal Sounds. It was released 2014, and they have or had a huge kind of sale, so I bought that for next to nothing. The sort of sad thing is that it's warped. But the guy was so kind to he said that if you buy something more in the future, just let me know and I'll send you another one. So it's all gonna work out. It's an independent record label, so I'm just glad that they released the music. As with this, also Subliminal Sounds. I think I paid like 10 euros for this. This is a super obscure US loner folk record or rock record from John Michael Roach, With You in My Arms. Also released by Subliminal Sounds, but I think that the original press came out in 1974 maybe. This is great. I mean, this is a sort of a masterpiece in the obscure kind of folk rock category. The solid songs, very well played, super good played and sung. And the guy, John Michael Roach, isn't the guy who's singing. He hired a guy to sing. He plays the drums and piano and stuff like that, I think. They actually went on a sort of a little tour, played venues, you know, stuff like that. So they had a sort of a following, but it was pressed in next to no copies at all, and it fetches so much money today if you want an original. Sounds great, well pressed. There's an insert with the bio, you know, all that good stuff. So highly recommended. Buy it before it goes out of print. Another one from Subliminal Sounds that I actually didn't like was Fear of the Night by K.S. Ratliff and Black Magic. Once again, this is from 82, I think. Also rare as hen's teeth. You have to pay up to get a copy of this if you want an original. Released by Subliminal Sounds. Sounds okay. I guess that they did their best with what they had to work with. But this is not good. It's heavy rock or hard rock. It's obscenely bad. All the way from the writing to the performance to the singing, everything in the production. Everything is just like so amateurish. And he was 17 when he did this, and I think that most of the players were in high school. But I mean, so it's a cool record, but it's not a good record. And I mean, kudos to the guy who made a record when he was 17. I'm 38 and I haven't recorded a record, but it's not a good record. Okay, this one, Life on Earth, their second release from 18, I think. No, 2009. Shit, long time ago. As Space, Water, Poop, Loop. Sorry, Loop. Their second release. I haven't heard the first one. This was also very cheap, like 5 euros or something like that from Subliminal Sounds. Sounds okay, and the music is good. If you like Dungen, there's guys from Dungen playing on this one. That sort of modern, sort of pop proggish. Yeah, really good. Bunch of players on that one. So I'm gonna leave Subliminal Sounds for now. That's the Subliminal Sounds pile. Moving on to another reissue that I couldn't keep. I decided that I wouldn't buy this because I've listened to it so many times online, and I just like it's good, but it's not great in my opinion. But it's so, everyone's talking about this like it's a top 10 Blue Note record, and that it would sound great with the sort of Kevin Gray new mastered Shuhei Shuo. So I had to buy it, and it sounds great. And actually, when you sit down, really crank the volume up and get that sort of the mastered with the almost 3D soundstage, everything's just so detailed, and with the drumming, you can hear every nuance of the wood hitting the drums. It's insane. It's such an experience. So this went up a couple of notch when I played it. Glad to add that to the collection. Okay, moving on to earlier pressings and or first pressings. This is the only press made by this guy, Swedish song. Very special record. It was released on Sonnet, which is a huge label in Sweden, in 1974. I think this 72. Kurt Hjalmo released Ängel med krossade höfter, and that translates as angel with crushed hips. Crushed hips. Yes, you heard correctly. He was sort of a writer, poet, song and dance man, I don't know. And he got the opportunity to record a record with the studio mafia of its time. Jukka Tollonen plays guitar on 3 tracks, I think, which is just insane. The music on this is fantastic. And the singing quality and the writing quality is also good on the first side. Now everyone is hailing the second side with Janis Joplin, the song Janis Joplin and the song Jim Morrison, where he like kind of sings and talks over almost like a spoken word kind of psychedelic jam thing. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's a pastiche on Jim Morrison's Doors kind of way of blending poetry and rock. And I'm sorry, Kurt, but it wasn't your best thing. Now everybody loves that stuff with Kurt Hjalmo, but I think I prefer the first side, and that is really, really good. Some jazz. I got this for also a great amount. Motion by Lee Kunitz. It's a trio record on Verve. Let's see here. You have Sonny Dallas on bass and bass, and Elvin Ray Jones on drums. There's the Verve logo there, and this was released in 1980 as a Japanese press. Sounds good. Yeah, and a great trio record. I have some Lee Kunitz, but yeah, not the one that I'm really hunting for. Now I got that for maybe 4 or 5 euros, and from the same guy I went to his house and dug a little bit in his basement. I noticed this, Dave Burrell, Off the Love. You have Alan Silva, Roscoe Mitchell, and Dave Burrell on this one, on Piccadilly. So I wasn't gonna leave it there. This guy, I mean, he was not a free jazz guy, 1980, and he's selling records, but he's not selling free jazz records to anyone. So this is just collecting dust. So I got it for 3 euros, I think, or yeah, 3-4 euros, something like that. And it's very freak. It's out there. I mean, you have to really. It's the second press, so 1980, 1974, 72, 74 was the original press. But you have to really buckle up to you go on a ride. Let's just put it that way. I don't know if it's gonna be a while until I spin that again. A Swedish record that's been on my want list for some time. yeah, since I noticed or somebody talked about it, because I had no idea that this existed, and it's the only record by them, and so on and so on. This is Prine with Like Children from 1977. I don't think that these guys have done anything more except this. You have keyboards, bass, sax, and drums. Yeah. And this is sort of the typical run-of-the-mill sort of jazz funk from 77 here in Sweden. But when I say run-of-the-mill, it's like, it's not bad. We had so many great musicians here in Sweden in the 70s. I mean, Ablution and Häxmjölk and Egba. You know, so this sounds like those guys, but more obscure, less pressed, but the same quality. Not the best jazz rock that you will ever hear in your life, but then again, absolutely not the worst. And 1977, the sound quality was awesome. Just before that sort of nasty ass smooth 80s ruined everything in jazz. So you get nice production, very like down to the ground sort of jazz. I don't know. Let's just leave it at that. And you don't see this every day. Nice to have a copy. Okay, another one that's been on my want list is Electric Sounds for Dancing. Now this is Harry Chapter's Eyes, but with a different cover, different titles, this, and in another order. Harry Chapter was a Krautrock band from Germany, obviously, that made 2 records. The first one was Eyes in 70. And the other one, I can't remember what that was called. That's should be a better one. I'm still looking for that. Now, Eyes had a different cover. Awesome tunes, you know, stuff like that. It's a fantastic record. At the same time, this low-priced label, Martim, got a hold of the tapes and released it at the same time as the band was releasing it. No one knows how it got out there, and but it's out there. It's this one. So there's nothing here. I don't think, at least, that has anything to do with Harry Chapter at all. This is just like one of those pop disco kind of releases. But what you get is heavy ass, like monster kraut heavy rock record. And fun fact, I know a guy, Tobbe, he has both of them, both the Ice record and this one. And for some stupid reason, this is the more inexpensive one, obviously, because it's not the right record. And the titles are all wrong and in different order. But exactly the same songs. He owns both of them, and this one sounds much better than the original. I have nothing to compare it to, but this sounded great, like really, really good for being a record from 1970. As I said, released at the same time, and you can get this fairly. It's starting to get a little bit pricier. I mean, 30, 40, 50 euros, maybe something like that. But you have to pay like 80, 100, maybe for a good original press. Don't take my word for it, but it's more expensive, and but at least you get the right record. This is okay. Moving on. I was super happy to find this. A guy was selling this and another John Prine record on Facebook, and I just snagged it right up, along with a few other like gems, really heavy, like wants. And not pricey at all, but just stuff that I've been wanting for so long. The debut record by John Prine from 1970, I think. This is a 1970, if I did my research correct, 1975 reissue on Atlantic. So everything is the same. It has the lyrics sheet, everything, and in pristine condition. So yeah, second or third US press maybe. And if you're a country fan, if you like that sort of, I mean, it's a blend between Graham Parsons and Bob Dylan, in my opinion. It's not that sort of honky-tonky and boring country and cliche country. It's, let's say, a country with awareness. I don't know, but a masterpiece. Everyone needs this, and it takes time, but if you give it the time it deserves, it's gonna stay with you forever. I think so, at least. Okay, so another Swedish kind of rare jazz rock record, like Prine, and one I've been looking for maybe 10 plus years, and it's always been too pricey, in my opinion. I didn't want to buy it for that much money, but now I got it for a great price. Energy. So you have Alvaro Is, Amando Nicoletti, Bosse Norén, Björn Binge Inge, and Luis Aguado. I think they are Spanish or Mexican, and they came here, and I think they stayed afterwards. Recorded this on Harvest, of all the quirky sort of labels, and this is so much fire. You have that sort of Latin touch to it, but with the sort of Swedish jazz rock feel. 1974 also. Closer to Tequila or Ablution, if you know those records. Moving on, one that I've been wanting since before I listened to it the first time at Anders' house, actually. This is Gato Barbieri and Don Cherry, and it's called that. No, Togetherness. Togetherness. Oh, stupid. So you have Barbieri on tenor sax, Carl Hans Berger on vibraphone, Kenny Clark on bass, Aldo Romano on drums, and Don Cherry on cornet. Fantastic record, free jazz record from 1965. This is, I think, a 70s reissue, mint condition, like fantastic condition on this. So if you don't want to plunge out for the original press, sounds great. I mean, so get that instead. Yeah, many moons ago I got Henry Cow's third record, the red one, and I thought it was really nice. So I've been looking for the other ones, but they never turn up, and when they do, they get pretty pricey. I mean, I don't know why, because they're not stupid money, definitely not, but I've been outbid, and I've seen it for more than I want to buy them for in stores. So when I got the opportunity to buy both of them for a great price, I didn't hesitate at all. So Henry Cow's first, this is called, isn't it called you know what it's called. It's called something with a sock. Fuck it. Great. I mean, this is right up my alley. I don't understand why I've been waiting so long to really dive into and listen to Henry Cow, but I wanted the vinyl. So it's like I could have listened to them online, but I wanted the vinyl experience. This is progressive avant-garde jazz. It's like prog jazz avant-garde. And it's fabulous. It's fantastic. And I got the second one also. This is called Unrest. Really good. Also, so all three of them, and I'm looking for the live record too. Last one, but not least, I actually finally got a copy of Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. I mean, 1979. It can't be more iconic than this, can it? Released on Factory. So much myth around the recording and the band, and Ian Curtis committing suicide before the second one was out. You all know the deal. It's one of the best records ever recorded to some. I think it's a great record. It's a great record. But I'm not a huge like post-punk or new wave kind of guy. But this I tolerate. It's I mean, I would give it a 8 out of 10. In my book, it's an 8, and for most people, it's a 10 out of 10. This is a 1990 reissue on Q West. Sounds fantastic, like really, really good. There's sounds on this one that I didn't know were on it when I listened to it before online, and I think I had a CD back in the day. What I wanted and what I got was textured cover, so that was pretty nice, and I paid maybe 15 or 20 euro for it, something like that. So finally in my collection. That's it, man. You got to see my cave. So yeah, I think I'll do the rest upstairs, but nice to try something new out. Leave me comments if you have any, and I'll talk to you soon.